awulie amilumi se munyenge tumbi mietine mama oh munyenge tumbi mietine alumi mamoe aini gane tine mama oh awulie amilumi se munyenge tumbi mietine mama oh munyenge tumbi mietine I took it today, Munyenge to be near Tine, Mama, oh, Munyenge to be near Tine. I figured it today, a fool in me, Mama, oh, a paranime. I took it today, Munyenge to be near Tine, Mama, oh, Munyenge to be near Tine. Kumbani make alumi mamwe aeni gane tine awulie amilumise kumbani make kumbani make alumi mamwe aeni gane tine awulie amilumise Masakani bokani mo masakani alumi mamoe ya enigane tine awulie amilumise bokani mo masakani bokani mo masakani alumi mamoe ya enigane tine awulie amilumise Montete bani amiye Sami Saki na Sakani Munyenge remix Ashi na Sakani Sambana lolole to na alumi mamwe
A land built towards greatness, now shattered like an egg. This is the Chronicles. In the Genesis, January 1st, 1960, Angola got its freedom. On 11th of February 1961, Cameroon and Angola became brothers in a referendum. Like Le Coupé and Maningo to exist in confederation, 63 years later, the blood of the innocent shed to pay the price of our forefathers' mistakes, the price of their choices. Was it the we or yes? First, they said it was Boko Haram from the north. From being the jihad of Usman Dan Fodio, nowhere is safe. Saturday, 9 September 2017. Teachers, lawyers, they said, I recall leaving school for home that day, naively so jovial, because we thought it was a strike to strive for our future strides, a fight to fight for our future fights. But then, the first blood spilled on a land our forefathers bore with their blood for liberation, in shadows of history's cruel reign. When the missionaries came to Africa, they had the Bible and we had the land. They said, let us pray. We closed our eyes open. We had the Bible and they had the land. We bear the weight of mental chains. Colonial masters physically gone but mentally present. Our voices echo songs of freedom. Generations bound by unseen bars, struggling to break free from scars. They suppressed our cultural richness and traditions, buried the turmoil in our brains and called it independence. Just a flag independence indeed.
My body, we not go fit to catch my soul.
But from the depths of resilient flames, our spirit ignites, that which refuses to tame the Bernard von Lund generation, descendants of a great Mia Shaw, Africa's intellectual and Prince of Peace. From Cameroon in the heart of Africa, a man who believed in unity before diversity, a people politically divided but economically and developmentally united, decolonized and washed off Eurocentrism. I am no crusader for the things English. I do not worship English. I worship Lamso, for that is my identity. Just as the foot beat their blades and hit the drums to the rhythms of my ancestors within my soul, rethinking the African philosophy of education. If the first language of a child from birth is their mother tongue, education will greatly ameliorate, in the words of Ngugi wa Thiong'o. This is the move of Professor Bernard Sokika von Lund, also known as the genuine intellectuals, not the Lion King's dream, but the Martin Luther King's dream. Africa, rise, retelling your own stories in resilience and resistance. Africans reclaim what was once theirs and even more. Why fight against each other? Why take the life of a brother, sister, mother, or child? The war would end. The leaders will shake hands. But the old woman will keep waiting for her brave son. The young girl will keep waiting for her beloved husband. That boy would endlessly wait for his mother. Those children will wait for their heroic father. I do not know who sold our homeland, but I saw who paid the price.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to News Talk, coming to you from the great state of Texas, precisely Houston, Texas, with yours truly, Chris Ano. It's always a privilege coming to you with what is going on in where we call the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, talking about the war of independence for the people of Ambazonia. Thank you for tuning in. Please, as usual, you do me the favor by hitting your share button, sending the link out there for everybody in Asia, in the USA, on ground zero, all over the globe to know the anchor man is not just live. He is indeed alive, and he is not an AI. He is not AI. He is real. As you can see, my hands gestures and my eyes movements on your screen. Thank you for tuning in. I'd like to say good evening for those of you joining in from ground zero by way of satellite television. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues within the past days and we're off the air. I am excited. We are back on satellite on ground zero and all of Africa. And if you are watching me now, and I mean now, that means ABS is back on satellite in all of Africa. We've got a very, very exciting show to bring to you tonight. And please, I want you to stay tuned and expect some revelations about what happened in Bamenda, the so-called installation of a gas plant. And then we're going to be talking about what lies ahead in the so-called celebrations of 20th May. Please do not touch your remote. I will be right back. Are you planning a convention for your cultural or development association this summer? Let the world see it live. ABS Africa TV will bring your story straight from the diaspora to your villages and towns, so your people back home can experience every dance, every speech, and every proud moment as it happens. With professional coverage, global broadcast reach, and real-time streaming, ABS TV turns your event into a celebration that transcends borders. Don't let your hard work go unseen. Put your convention on the map. For booking and inquiries, please email us at absafricatv@gmail.com. Again, absafricatv@gmail.com. Or for WhatsApp purposes, send us a text at the number 346-504-3666. ABS Africa TV. We are bridging culture and connecting generations. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and once more, thanks for tuning in to ABS News Talk tonight. I begin with what is happening in Washington, D.C. in a matter of less than a week, talking about Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians rallying in Washington, D.C. to call upon the U.S. State Department, Homeland Security, the White House, Congress, and every department of the U.S. administration to consider canceling deportations for Southern Cameroonian refugees in the USA. That event is taking place on Monday, this coming Monday, precisely May 20th. We are expecting that every Southern Cameroonian, not just those who are fighting TPS, but every Southern Cameroonian who cares about those who may be deported. And these, we are talking about family members. We are talking about friends who have spent thousands of dollars to walk the road, the bush paths to get into the United States. If care is not taken, if we do not do our due diligence to do all that we can, appeal as much as we can to the U.S. administration, we have over 3,000 Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, who could be deported back to the dungeons in La République du Cameroon. And I refer it as dungeons because the moment they arrive at the airport in La République du Cameroon, they will be picked up, tortured, and locked up. And we do not know what will be the cash price, but we know they will pay dearly because simply being a Southern Cameroonian Ambazonian and landing in Yaoundé, you would be picked up, taken to Kondenge or said, interrogated, tortured, and locked up. This is for real. Now, within the past 4 months, I'm sure precisely in January, La République du Cameroon's crony lawyer Manuel Nsalai put out a statement forwarded targeting State Department, Department of Homeland Security, Congress, and the White House, asking the U.S. administration to deport a number of Southern Cameroon leaders in the USA. Now, you all know, if they are already targeting those who are in the United States, imagine if you are picked up in the U.S. under Donald Trump's deportations and sent back to La République du Cameroon. You know, as well as I do, exactly what would happen to those deportees. But we have to fight, we have to try, we have to do something before that happens, so that if it happens, we would at least have known that we tried our best. We did our best before we didn't succeed. And so we are inviting every Southern Cameroonian Ambazonian, if you live within the axis of New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Delaware, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. Even if you live in the Carolinas, you can make it. You can make it to Washington, D.C. in front of the State Department on Monday, May 20th, so that we appeal to the conscience of U.S. administrators to cancel this TPS. The good thing that is already working for us is that U.S. Congress and the Senate, they are already working on a resolution to forward to the Department of Homeland Security and the White House, including the State Department, to cancel or to maintain protection for Southern Cameroonians in the USA. And so please, let us do this. It is time we do sacrifice for one another. I do not have any TPS beneficiaries here in the United States. I do not have them. But I am doing this because our people face danger if deported back to La République du Cameroon. So please show up, and let us defend them, and by all possible means save them the dangers of deportation. I will take a brief second out, and when I come back, I'll bring you my first monologue for the day on the subject of the gas filling station in Bamenda. So ladies and gentlemen, please stay put. I'll be right back.
Thrive America, the flagship model, offers personalized coaching and assistance to newly arrived individuals into the country through a concierge service and one-stop resource on your phone. The app supports essential areas of integration, such as job search strategies, benefits applications, financial literacy, credit repair, legal guidance, and more. The platform aims to become the go-to resource as you navigate the complexities of settling into a new country.
All this, His Excellency President Paul Biya. This 9th day of May 2025, we gather with grateful hearts to inaugurate the Bamenda gas plant, a flagship energy project that symbolizes renewed faith, realized potentials, and resounding hope. This facility is not only about gas, it is about guidance, good governance, and the grace of peace. It is about the head of state's unwavering care for every Cameroonian.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the colonial mayor of Bamenda speaking there. And do not forget, everything in that country is about the almighty head of state, the almighty head of state. If a pipe-borne water is constructed in your town or village, thanks to the head of state, that is La République du Cameroon, for you, and that is what I will be talking about at this moment again, about the so-called gas plan that we are told was launched in the city of Bamenda last week. It is very critical we understand what they are trying to do to our people, not just to Bamenda. Last week, ladies and gentlemen, in Bamenda, the regime in Yaoundé staged yet another masterclass in deception, propaganda, and mockery in a spectacle that could rival a royal coronation. A representative of the Prime Minister drove into the city of Bamenda surrounded by sirens, fanfare, and hired cultural performers, not to inaugurate a new industrial zone, not to open a long-awaited teaching hospital or unveil a finished ring road, but to commission a simple gas filling station. Yes, a filling station, a depot for bottled cooking gas. And as ridiculous as that may sound, they shamelessly dress it up as a groundbreaking achievement. Traditional dancers beat their drums, administrators pose for the cameras, and the mayor of Bamenda took center stage as you listen to him there with statements so detached from reality they bordered on outright delusion. The man stood in front of national television cameras and, with no trace of irony, declared that this gas filling station would create over 1,000 jobs. 1,000 jobs, he said, for the youth of Bamenda. Let that sink in. 1,000 jobs at a gas depot, a location where gas is simply deposited and sold, not produced, not manufactured, not processed. What exactly will 1,000 people be doing there? Holding hands and praying over each bottle of gas before it is sold? This is not a petrochemical refinery, for God's sake. It is, by all reasonable standards, a glorified storage point, a place with perhaps a handful of attendants, a few technicians, a manager, and of course, security. This is not economic transformation they want you to believe. It is political theater. It is insult in high definition, broadcast to a people they believe are either too blind to see or too oppressed to speak. But we see and we will speak. What happened in Bamenda last week is not development. It is distraction. It is an attempt to bait a desperate people with crumbs in exchange for their silence and political participation in an illegitimate system or regime, the Yaoundé regime. This is a tired, recycled tactic of a regime that has nothing, zero left to offer. Every election cycle, they wheel out the same strategy. Drop a few caterpillars on broken roads, paint pedestrian crossings on impassable highways, commission the occasional borehole or structure, and then sing hymns of praise to the head of state. He has delivered. He has delivered. So they always say. Delivered what? That is the question. What has Biya delivered? The Bamenda Ring Road, promised for over 40 years, remains unfinished. The Bamenda Street expansion project lies abandoned, overtaken by weeds and neglect. Electricity remains erratic, and blackouts are a routine. Clean drinking water is a luxury for the people of Bamenda, and of course in all of Ambazonia, even sometimes extending to their country. Hospitals are under-equipped, understaffed, and overcrowded, and the youth continue to flee, not for adventure, but for survival. But instead of addressing these problems, the regime gives us a gas filling station with a ribbon cutting ceremony and expects you to clap. No, you will not. You will not clap because it is window dressing. Let the people not be deceived. This entire circus had one purpose and one purpose only: to pacify, distract, and manipulate the people of Bamenda ahead of their elections. It is part of a well-worn pattern. When the time to register for voting comes, the regime swings into action, not to fix infrastructure, not to empower local governance, but to give just enough spectacle to fool the gullible and score a few headlines, as they did in Bamenda. In past years, they deployed road graders and bulldozers to fake road construction. The people have since caught on the scam. So this year, they try a new trick. Use a gas depot, a gas filling station to sell false hope. And worse still, they dare attach it to the name of the head of state, as though he personally carried the gas pipes into town, right? This is not governance. It is extortion by illusion. This move is not just pathetic. It is a sign of a desperate government clinging to power through lies and smoke screens. If you ever needed proof that the regime has no credible vision for the people of Bamenda and Ambazonia as a whole, talk less, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. Send the Prime Minister's representative to inaugurate a filling station. As simple as a petrol station. Let us be clear, a gas filling station is not a bad thing in itself. If it helps bring down prices, makes gas more accessible, and reduces transport costs, the people will use it. They will benefit. But don't stand in front of us and call it development. Don't insult our intelligence. Don't come to a region broken by decades of neglect and pour sugar over your failure, expecting the people to smile and clap for you. What Bamenda needs is not grand speeches over petty projects. Bamenda needs freedom, freedom, freedom. The right to elect local governors, administrators, and mayors, not appointed loyalists of the regime in Yaoundé. How about infrastructure? roads, clean water system, power supply, and health care. The freedom to run its own affairs and direct its own resources. That is what the people of Bamenda need. They need accountability, transparent budgets, local investment in youth and innovation, not political pageantry. Not at all. These are not luxuries. They are the foundations of human dignity. And they will never come through filling station inaugurations wrapped in tribal drum and empty promises. Not at all. To the people of the southern Cameroons, especially Bamenda people, let this be your wake-up call. The dream of Ambazonia is not about gas filling stations. It is about governance that respects you, serves you, and answers to you. It is about never again having to watch a colonial administrator arrive in fanfare to pretend that a depot is a factory, a production station that neglects its development and that silence is unity. Of course, it is not. This is why the struggle must continue, because only freedom can deliver the real change. Only a liberated southern Cameroons can ensure that hospitals are not death traps, that roads are not death corridors, and that public office is not an exclusive club for regime cronies. Cameroon officials, and I mean La République du Cameroon's officials, have become experts at trading glitter for gold, trading illusions for hope. But the people are awake now. Ambazonia, the southern Cameroons, the people are awake. We see through the charade. You can keep your gas station. You can keep your lies. You can keep your drums and rented crowds. But you cannot keep Ambazonians from dreaming and fighting for a better future. The message is clear. Take your gas filling stations, and will we take our freedom? And no, we won't register for your elections. We won't give legitimacy to your lies. Bamenda has had enough. Ambazonia has had enough. And the world must hear it. And that is my monologue, ladies and gentlemen. I am being joined on the show by two comrades who understand what exactly I am talking about the regime in La République du Cameroon. And first of all, before I take you to the guests, let me play this clip again from the mayor of Bamenda, the colonial mayor of Bamenda. He is speaking here, and the first thing he does, as you know, is to thank the head of state. Listen.
Today is not just a day on the calendar. It is a defining moment for Bamenda and the entire Northwest region. A moment when promises meets progress. A moment where vision becomes a reality. A moment when a people's longing for inclusion, development, and dignity is answered by action. It is a moment to celebrate the author of all this, His Excellency President Paul Biya.
It is the time to celebrate the author of all of this, His Excellency Paul Biya. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my comrade Kennedy Ejacha right here with me. I will also be joined by comrade John Ba Akuro. John Ba Akuro will also be here. But Kennedy, let me start with you, sir. Do you make sense about this speech by the colonial mayor of Bamenda talking about the gift by the head of state. And by the way, you are aware this is a mere gas filling station. It is not a factory that has been, that is producing gas originally from Bamenda. It is a gas filling station, like a petrol station, like any other petrol station anywhere in that country. But you see the fanfare, the propaganda that with which they inaugurate it. And the mayor says, this is going to employ 1,000 youths. Where have you seen a simple gas station employing more than 10 people? Let me let you to answer.
Yes, Comrade Chris, thank you very much. I like the way you characterize this thing, and you used a word that triggered something in my neurons, and the words that you said it's a smoke screen.
Smoke
Be
screen,
very
yes.
attentive. Yes, very. You should be very attentive to that word
Okay.
because the fanfare around the inauguration of this benign business venture, that fanfare in my mind when I heard you say smoke screen prompted me to think that these people might have taken money from the international community as they always take loans
Yeah.
for a project, a dense project in the Northwest province. And in order for them to justify the money that they took, they've put up this funny gas station in the Northwest. So it's time even for the people of Bamenda to open their eyes very well, do some research to understand what's going on. Because opening a gas filling station and say it's going to hire 1,000 people, that cannot be something that we would consider is an anonymous. I mean, it's must be something behind that, and it's important that we we raise these concerns to the highest quarters possible, try to see with the International Monetary Fund, and do some investigations, because now this region is a region that is rich in terms of natural gas resources. If we can think back of what happened, that I think it was in 1985 or 86 in Womb, where it was reported. Now, let's accept that official statement that it was natural gas bubbling in the instead of having real gas production, because gas is a natural resource in the Northwest region. We are having a filling station where gas is going to come from somewhere else. It's really befitting my imagination, and it brings me to one of the things that you also said at the introduction about being AI. I think Cameroon first century is smart, but we are having a Cameroon with an AI of the Middle Age. So it's wonderful, and I would like to see how that AI looks on 20th May, because he always goes around and parades so I think somebody will be pressing the button, and he'll be raising his hands. We remember a couple of years ago the button was not working. The wife had to raise the hand for him to greet the people. So that's the situation in which we are. A Cameroon run by an antiquated AI.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't.
Yeah, you didn't
I
have no
wasn't being
audio that
heard.
I was
I'm
indicating.
sorry about that. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. These things happen. But this is what I'm saying. I have called this thing a typical 419 scheme that they always carry out every time they have elections. Coming up, they either carry their bulldozers and caterpillars and dump somewhere and then run to the media and propagate. And only 1 week ago, the colonial parliamentarian for the BLM went on television and announced that they are coming to tar the BLM Chang Road and all the way to Mamfe. And I laughed and said, how many times would we hear this news of the tarring of this road? The tarring of this road. They go to Bamenda. They set up a mere filling station. A mere filling station. An equilibrium of a petrol station. And they fool the people. They lie to the people. This is going to employ 1,000 people. And I look at the city of Bamenda. John Bayakoro, you recall, few years ago, they carried bulldozers, caterpillars into the city of Bamenda. Bulldoze people's homes, put them down, and in the name of widening the streets of Bamenda up to today, I think about 3 years or 4 years after, nothing, zero was done. If this is not 419, tell me what it is, sir. Yeah, you were muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Go on.
Oh, okay. My apologies to everyone. I was saying greetings to the people of the Southern Cameroons, all over the world. Greetings to Ambazonians everywhere. Greetings to you, my dear friend and the classmate, Kennedy Ejacha. You know, although you like to dodge away from it, but I'll call you Comrade Kennedy Ejacha. You can want to run away from it. You know, you and I, we fought for change for a long time together in that useless country, and change will never come there. In a hurry. Too often, I don't even want to bother myself about those useless ventures that they carry out, especially in the southern Cameroons. Because, Comrade Chris, these are people who cannot help themselves. They can't help themselves. So they can't pretend that they can help you and I. Because when they say, that useless project they come there to come and make noise about. Look at it, go to the south, Mr. Paul Bia's region. You don't have roads, you don't have even those kind of things, nothing anywhere. Let me be very clear here. It's not just like it's electional or it's election what, the problem they have is they want at least the international community to say elections took place in the southern Cameroons because they know we have made abundantly clear we are not part of La République du Cameroon. We are not interested in their elections. We are not interested in their politics. We are not interested in anything. That's why you see they don't only parrot that. They go about and gather people 70 and above or 65, whatever, and go and gather in a hall and say these are young people from our southern zone that Kennedy calls Southwest, or from our northern zone that Kennedy still calls Northwest, and all of those things, and claim that, oh, they contributed 5 million, they contributed 7 million, they contributed 35 million. This is bullshit. This is nonsense. You know what preoccupies me, Chris? Before I came into this studio, I was on a live broadcast where I was telling the world that while they are doing that charade in Bamenda, in Ikom in Nigeria, the southern Cameroon's refugees are facing fire. As I speak to you, the consular office of La République du Cameroon in Calabar is bribing Nigerian police heavy sums of money. And that police is going about with some people deceiving people that they want to put them together and register them for elections. And then they even use area boys. They point to their houses. The Nigerian police, they capture them and go and detain them in their cells. And then the consular office of Cameroon in Calabar comes with a bus. They put them in and ship them to a cock. And then they are detained in Manfi for onward transmission. I had somebody who would have been a victim, but for the fact that he managed to escape, that testified to me just a while ago. This is unacceptable. This is horrible. This is a rogue system. I can't even glorify them by coming to sit here to talk about, a gas filling station that they go and something that is normal that should even happen, and even a local mayor would not even have to organize such a huge outing. This is crap. And to be very candid, I think the people of La République du Cameroon need to know. The government of La République du Cameroon needs to know that the people of the southern Cameroons have spoken triumphantly. Kennedy, you are a Christian, you are a pastor, and you know when Christian Cardinal Tumi went out there and organized a survey on the ground without including the diaspora, 69% of our people on the ground said they wanted absolute independence. They don't want to have anything to do with La République du Cameroon. How loudly would our people speak for them to hear? All this nonsense, they come and say gas station and all or not, like Chris said, it's simply a charade because they want to see if they can have a few people on our territory at some polling stations that they'll film and say the people of the Southern Cameroons participated in this election. For Kennedy and others who are hoping that they can have change in that country through the ballot box, I pity you because you know as well as I do that Elekam already has the results of their elections. As long as Paul Biya breathes, he'll be president of that country. Even if he is 150 years, he'll be president of that country. His corpse is even likely to rule that country. I heard you talk about AI, and there is nothing those people can do about this. Until they man up to take back their country, we are already fighting to take back our own. Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. I don't know if Kennedy want to say something in connection to what you just said there.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll tell my dear brother, classmate, and friend, Mr. John Bakuro. John, see, it's true. We have the same concern. We have the same fight. It's just that we have different view about this. And talking about what Cardinal Tumi did, I'm happy that you are claiming the results of the survey, but you were the first that were placing roadblocks on Cardinal Tumi initiative. If we had all come together as Cardinal Tumi had wanted, that let all Anglophones come together, maybe we would have been singing a whole different song today in unison. But that opportunity wasn't given. I hope it's time now that you all realize that in spite of our divergent point of view, we need to find a common ground where we can work together and hope that we come out with a result that will be acceptable to our people, because in some ways, the very things that we are condemning from the Biya regime, I'm seeing it being perpetrated amongst my brothers claiming to be Ambazonians.
What exactly are you talking about, sir?
Now, I'm talking about, for instance, why did we not have that come together with Ganatumi? For the simple reason that, wait, let me finish, please. Yeah, no, let me finish.
No, wait, Kennedy.
No, I listened to you attentively. No, you were talking. I listened to you attentively.
Let him land. So
yeah, take over. I listened to you religiously and attentively. Those who boycotted Cardinal Tumi when he was calling for an all Anglophone conference, very funnily enough, it was Ekema, the mayor of Boya, who is of late memory, and some fringe elements of the Ambazonian movement. They were the ones who said, oh no, we don't want to hear from Cardinal Tumi. He's a federalist, he's this. But Cardinal Tumi was saying, let all Anglophones come together, irrespective of their ideological inclination. So that's my point. Have we gotten to that point now where we all can work together? Federalists, Ambazonian separatists, or whatever. If we are all Southern Cameroonians, can we all work together?
Chris, am I allowed to answer now?
Yes, John, go on.
Thank you very much. Kennedy, you are mixing the cocoyam and corn. There is something I'd like to tell you. When it comes to this kind of arguments, to be very candid, I like to argue with men on this kind of issues, because you see, boys have a different way of thinking. And the reason why boys have a different way of thinking is that they are not realists. They are idealists. Idealism has not taken anybody anywhere. Because you see, you swim in a lot of incongruity, which is the first incongruity that you swim in. What relationship is there between talking about the result of a survey and disagreeing about the holding of a meeting? The survey had nothing to do with the meeting Christian Cardinal Tumi wanted to hold. And just so that you are aware, Kennedy, I know that you were not informed about that whole thing. I was the first to bring that thing to the fore, and I brought it with documentary evidence. That initiative was Simon Munzu's initiative, which was aimed in 2018 at pacifying the people of the southern Cameroons. And I have documents written by Munzu and sent to the Prime Minister's office, which I brandished, and Munzu, in talking to me, never disowned that document. And he was initiating that conference not for the sake of the justice that we seek, not even for the sake of the people of the southern Cameroons, but because he wanted to pacify the people of the southern Cameroons for the peaceful organization of the 2018 presidential election in the southern Cameroons. When I busted Munzu with the evidence, because I had the evidence, what did Munzu do? They rushed quickly to Christian Cardinal Tumi. And Christian Cardinal Tumi, being a father, being someone who has a heart on the people, desirous to promote it, decided to claim it. We knew where it was coming from. But one thing you omit to say is that the real person that stopped that meeting, because we didn't have the power even to stop it, we could oppose it. Like I said, it was a stupid idea because we are not Anglophones. Because he said all Anglophones, we're not Anglophones, like you're trying to say. I'm not an Anglophone. I'm a Southern Cameroonian. The entity that stopped it was the colonial governor of the Southwest, who is still there, Okalia Bilai Bernard. You mentioned a Kema who was fighting it, but the person that stopped it, that made sure it wouldn't hold, was not us. And then you need to watch your language. You don't call Southern Cameroonians separatists. We are not separatists. We are not separating something that is together. We were never together, and you know it. History is clear. Even Paul Biya himself said in Boya that history is stubborn. That Boya was the capital of Southern Cameroons. Southern Cameroon was a country, an entity. We are not separating something that was joined. There's no treaty of union linking the people of the Southern Cameroons with those of La République du Cameroun. And Kennedy, I know you have found time to understand why, after the plebiscite of February 11, in February, the United Nations in April decided to hold an independence vote 2 months after, because we needed to be an independent country to negotiate a treaty of union with La République du Cameroun. So if you don't understand these historical facts the way they come, you always get completely off the line. And that's why I say we need to be able to talk on this as men, not as boys. So change your cap.
No, Comrade John. I mean, John. Let's get this clear.
Yes, Comrade Kennedy. I'm here, Comrade Kennedy.
Yes, Comrade John. I mean, I'll call. We're comrades in so many ways, and we might have divergent point of view. Now, the only reason I brought up Cardinal Tumi is because you first brought him up. Now, you cannot have your border and eat your border and expect the money. If you give credibility or credence to a survey that he organized, I'm bringing you back to the fact that you were preaching that he doesn't have any integrity, and you did not believe in what he was saying back then when he was still alive, that he wants. Now, in the context of it, when I say Anglophone, everybody knows what it means in the context of our conversation. So let's not extrapolate on that. So Anglophone in this context means Cameroonians from the Southwest and Northwest regions. You can call it Southern Cameroons. You know very well that definition that I'm talking about. So let's not play over it as boys. Let's be men and understand what we're saying. So you gave credibility to Cardinal Tumi by citing his survey, which should be a scientific thing. But you were the ones who castigated him trying to get us together. Now, I'm saying, are you all ready that we all go together, whether we call ourselves Southern Cameroons, call ourselves Anglophones? Are you ready that we chat, we discuss together and see if you have your 79% when we come together, then all of us will follow. Why is the problem that you cannot
why
allow
don't
us come
we
together?
do this? Maybe why don't we do this in the next segment of the show that has to do with 20th May? Maybe we'll come back to that. But for now, before we switch to that,
Chris, before you go off this, there is one fallacy Kennedy keeps talking about, and Muslim memory has it that when you leave it before you come back to it and people have forgotten it, it's not proper. I want to reiterate it. Kennedy, there is no such thing as Cameroonians from the Northwest and the Southwest. We are not Cameroonians. You have to be clear about that. That's number one. And number two, I have never attacked the integrity of Christian Cardinal Tumi. I've always called him venerated, even while he was alive. I disagreed with the idea he was bringing about to talk about a certain Anglophone whatsoever. I had no power to stop it. The people that stopped it are the same people he was working with. And I don't know when you tell me, are we ready to sit together now? Sit together as who? Where were Federalists? Where have Federalists had a voice in this whole thing before? We get Federalists a voice. Federalists are simply here to play the spoiler. There is nothing you can tap home from La République du Cameroon. No, there's nothing. You cannot tap palm wine from Tar Kennedy. Let's be realistic. Thank you, Chris.
All right, let's hang on there. I give you guys the last opportunity on this segment to educate our people, because this is why this subject is important. Our people need to know La République du Cameroon is just all over what they have done over the years. When it is election time, they come around with one fake project or the other. But the question remains, and our people need to know, are God's plans what they need? Or they need freedom and liberty, the ability to determine their own way of life and government? Is that not what they need? John, I'll start with you.
Of course, this is what we have been talking about for a long time. Chris, in the early days of this liberation movement, right up to the 9th of February 2017, at the consortium, we were still talking federalism. We were still asking La République du Cameroun to let us go back to where we met in 1961, so that each state would determine its own development priority. La République du Cameroun told us, we have already annexed, because they said, le Cameroun a fait son histoire. I got this word first from Canton Maurice, before I started hearing it from other people. Le Cameroun a déjà fait son histoire. We cannot go back, because they considered that we have already annexed, we have captured, we cannot go back. And they told us that if you dare ask for autonomy, we will kill you. And they started killing us. And from that moment, we said, well, we were even so stupid to be wanting to promote a fallacy. We were stupid to be wanting to settle for less than we deserve. Because our people settled for less than they deserved in 1961. That is why we ended up with even far less than we ever settled for. And so therefore, there is no way. Look at La République du Cameroun. In 1994 or in 2004, they came up with a decree with something called the decentralization. That was a whole text from Parliament, that it was decentralization, and they were going to make sure that every region, that's why they changed the names of the things from provinces to regions.
So the impression
that every region
would
elect their governor, elect their people, and do what? And they would take care of their own development priority, and they would do this or they would do that.
Right.
Listen, I was a CRTV then. In analyzing that document, a lot of us pointed out that La République du Cameroun system is based on the French system. And this whole nonsense of decentralization was employed, number one, to fool the international community that was asking for, for some kind of decentralization and democratization. And number two, to deceive the people of the Southern Cameroons who were becoming too vocal. Don't forget that 2004, when they were talking, back in 1998, They were already having a lot of heat from some African Union organs asking them to sit down to a dialogue with the people of the Southern Cameroons as a people. So all of these things, they knew they would never do it. The French, on whom their system is hinged, don't believe in decentralization. So don't ever expect La Republic Cameroon to believe in decentralization. Because the French don't want a system by which when they see natural resources somewhere, they want to go and grab it, they have to start talking to the people of the area concerned. They want to hold their governor in Yaoundé or their prefect in Yaoundé because their presidents are prefects. Their prefect in Yaoundé and say, give us all of this, and with the single stroke of the pen, they have it. La République du Cameroon doesn't believe in decentralization. It is not happening today, and it will never happen anytime soon. Never even. The people of the Southern Cameroons are aware of all this, and we will never be fooled again. Never.
Absolutely.
This train will only stop at freedom.
All right. Kennedy, please, your last thought on this subject of the filling stations, the message that our people should get from it before we get to the next segment.
Yes, I mean, from the premise of your question, I would start there before I touch on something that John said. It's clear we are all for self-determination. And that's what we federalists have been clamoring for. Self-determination at all levels. Let people take their responsibilities. Let people take the management of their lives into their hands. That's what federalism is all about. It's all about freedom. And I am very, very happy that John plainly puts it that they were fighting for federalism, that we go back to 1961. Yes, it's important that he came out, he highlighted that fact that they were fighting with us. They just left us. They were fighting for federation, that we go back to 1961. And now, what I see is a reactionary response of some of us from Southern Cameroons to Bia's misbehavior, to Bia's inhumanity. They have that reactionary response, which is saying, okay, since you refused a federalism that we believed in, that we thought could make things work, now we are going to react by saying we choose something else. We go with another alternative. So that's a reactionary response. It's not a thoughtful response. We remain consistent. I became a federalist out of conviction. And it's not bias, reaction, or action that will change my ideological belief. I am a principled person. I wasn't going into federalism because I thought it was a feel-good solution, because I thought it was going to be easy to get it. No. People have died in Cameroon for federalism. People have died. Let's get this very well. People have died in Cameroon for federalism, which means that even to obtain federalism, there is a price to pay, a high price that has been paid. It's not different from the price that those who are going in for separation are paying. It's not like it's an acceptable option for the regime. If federalism was something that is cheap, the regime would have bought it.
Okay,
now,
I guess
yes, you allow John to speak far more than me.
I will have to respond before he ends.
No, you guys can continue with the subject on the next segment because it dwells much on this topic. Please, so
no,
please,
but Chris, I guess
hold your peace. Hold your peace. We're
said.
coming back to it. Hold your peace. We're coming back to it. Okay, we'll take a brief minute out, and when we come back, I will bring you my second talking point on the subject of 20th May and why we loot it. And you guys will continue. Stay put, please. Are you planning a convention for your cultural or development association this summer? Let the world see it live. ABS Africa TV will bring your story straight from the diaspora to your villages and towns, so your people back home can experience every dance, every speech, and every proud moment as it happens. With professional coverage, global broadcast reach, and real-time streaming, ABS TV turns your event into a celebration that transcends borders. Don't let your hard work go unseen. Put your convention on the map. For booking and inquiries, please email us at absafricatv@gmail.com. Again, absafricatv@gmail.com. Or for WhatsApp purposes, send us a text at the number 346 504 3666. ABS Africa TV. We are bridging culture and connecting generations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put there. I come back to you with a very special monologue talking point on the subject of 20th May, the subject of 20th May in Ambazonia. Of course, we've had opportunity to talk about this over the years since we began fighting for a free and independent southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. But it remains critical that in the course of this war that we continue to talk about it, but not only talk about it, educate, inform our people why we do not want to celebrate 20th May in the southern Cameroons. It is very, very important. It is very critical. Every year, as the Cameroonian regime organizes nationwide celebrations to mark May 20th, the so-called National Day, the overwhelming segment of the population in Ambazonia, known historically as the Southern Cameroons, either mourns in silence, protests, or outright rejects the celebration as a symbol of betrayal, the symbol of annexation, and the destruction of their autonomy. To Southern Cameroonians, May 20 is not a day of unity, but a dark reminder of the death of their sovereignty, the death of their institutions, and their distinct identity. In this article, I examine the reasons behind the widespread resentment Southern Cameroonians harbor towards May 20th celebrations. It exploits the historical, political, and cultural grievances tied to the date, and I unpack why it is viewed not as a national day of pride, but as a symbol of annexation and erasure. To understand the rejection of May 20th in Ambazonia, one must go back to the complex post-colonial history of the territory. The Southern Cameroons was a British Trust territory, that is, governed under British administration through the United Nations mandate after the First World War. It was culturally legally, and educationally distinct, that means different from the French-administered part of Cameroon, which we call La République du Cameroun, which had a completely different colonial experience. On October 1, 1961, the Southern Cameroons obtained independence by joining the already independent French-speaking La République du Cameroun in a federation of two equal states. This union was understood by the Southern Cameroonian population as a confederation of equals, not an absorption or subordination. However, that understanding was quickly betrayed. In 1972, just 11 years into the Federal Union, then Amadou Ahidjo, La République du Cameroon's president, single-handedly organized a national referendum aimed at dissolving the federal structure and replacing it with a unitary state. That referendum, conducted without equal participation or the consent from the Southern Cameroonian people, marked a clear violation of the 1961 agreement that brought the two states together. It is this event that Southern Cameroonians mark as the true beginning of their annexation. And it is celebrated by La République du Cameroon's government every May 20th. In fact, they celebrate it as their Independence Day. That means the day they captured us. So to Southern Cameroonians, May 20, 1972 is the day their autonomy was officially buried. It is the date that La République du Cameroun swallowed the Southern Cameroons under the false pretext of national unity. From that day on, Southern Cameroons ceased to exist as a political entity, as a state. The main reason May 20 is despised in the Southern Cameroons is because it represents a forced, undemocratic, and deceitful merger. There are key factors that amplify this view. Number one, the 1972 referendum was conceived, executed, and imposed solely by La République du Cameroon's leadership. Southern Cameroonians were neither consulted nor represented in its conception. Number two, according to international law, the referendum was illegal, and the terms of the federation agreed in 1961. No decision could abolish the federal structure. No decision could change the federal structure. But this is exactly what happened on May 20th. Number three, with the declaration of a unitary state in 1972, all institutions specific to the Southern Cameroons, including our House of Assembly, Prime Minister's position or office, our judiciary, and even policing systems were scrapped. But La République du Cameroun kept their gendarmes, their DOs, and everything, I mean everything, and they extended them into our territory, the Southern Cameroons. It marked the end of the Southern Cameroons' self-governance and statehood. Number four, the erasure of the Southern Cameroons' identity. Post-1972, the government undertook a series of reforms designed to erase the Anglo-Saxon identity of the Southern Cameroons. Legal systems were harmonized under French civil law. Education was centralized under Francophone curriculums. and French became the dominant language in all aspects of governance up to today. It has remained so. Even as I speak to you right now, French remains the official language in that country. This is why May 20th is not a day of celebration, but a day of occupation for many in Ambazonia. The Cameroonian government's insistence on celebrating May 20th as a day of national unity is therefore to Southern Cameroonians a mockery of their suffering and a glorification of conquest. The celebrations often involve military parades, government speeches, extolling unity, and displays of Cameroonian flags and symbols that many Southern Cameroonians reject outright. To our people, to Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, these parades are symbolic of the militarization and occupation of their territory. The presence of Cameroonian military personnel in our streets, particularly during May 20th, are viewed as a direct threat to the struggle for restoration and a reminder of the regime's brutal enforcement of assimilation. Since 2016, when the conflict reignited in response to marginalization and cultural oppression, May 20th has become even more controversial. It is now met with ghost towns, boycotts, and often violence. And that is the reason why now we have banned it completely in Ambazonia. Government attempts to force participation in celebrations, particularly from school children and local chiefs, have backfired and intensified the resentment. That is why also we have declared a lockdown on May 20th. But beyond the political and historical reasons, May 20th has left deep psychological wounds in the Southern Cameroonian consciousness. The annual fanfare and flag waving represent the institutionalized denial of our identity, a denial backed by military force, propaganda, and economic marginalization. Why the day is looted. Number one, the loss of language and culture. The imposition of Francophone structures led to the erosion of the Anglo-Saxon common law system, educational models, and civic traditions. In public service, business, the military, and infrastructural development, the Southern Cameroonians have long complained about being treated as second-class citizens. And this began right after 1961, and amplified when everything was carried to Yaoundé in 1972 after the referendum. Since the crisis began in 2016, more than 30,000 Southern Cameroonians have been killed, villages have been burned, and thousands arrested and locked up in Douala, Yaoundé, Bafoussam, you can name the rest. To then watch some governments celebrate unity is a cruel irony. The Cameroonian state has consistently refused to acknowledge the history of the Southern Cameroons, portraying the current arrangement as a natural and harmonious unity that was always intended. This historical denial only deepens the alienation that gets us fighting today for independence. It is crucial to state that May 20th celebrations serves a political function for the Yaoundé's regime. It allows the regime in Yaoundé to project an image of control and cohesion, both domestically and internationally. It is a tool. 20th May is a tool for silencing dissent and reaffirming dominance over restive Ambazonia.
Yes.
Year after year, despite growing resistance, the government continues to spend enormous resources staging parades and forcing attendance, not because people genuinely celebrate the day, but because it reinforces the regime's narrative of an indivisible Cameroon. But Southern Cameroonians have rejected this narrative. They have rejected it and they walked away from it. For the majority of Southern Cameroonians, May 20th is not a national holiday, not a national day. It is a day of betrayal, invasion, and forced assimilation. It is a reminder of what has taken them, of what was taken from them, their land, their institutions, their freedom, and their heritage or identity. The hatred for May 20th is not rooted in ethnic bias or political mischief. No, it is anchored in historical fact, broken promises, and decades of suffering under an imposed union. Until the root causes, therefore, of the conflict are addressed and the historical injustice corrected, any attempt to force celebrations on this date in the Southern Cameroons will be met with rejection. In the words of many activists, May 20th must be desecrated, not celebrated. For genuine peace and unity to return, the regime in Yaoundé must first reckon with the truth of its past, starting with acknowledging that May 20th was never about unity, it was about conquest. And that is my talking point, ladies and gentlemen. When I come back, I bring back my analyst to get into the subject. So please stay put. Are you planning a convention for your cultural or development association this summer? Let the world see it live. ABS Africa TV will bring your story straight from the diaspora to your villages and towns, so your people back home can experience every dance, every speech, and every proud moment as it happens. With professional coverage, global broadcast reach, and real-time streaming, ABS TV turns your event into a celebration that transcends borders. Don't let your hard work go unseen. Put your convention on the map. For booking and inquiries, please email us at absafricatv@gmail.com. Again, absafricatv@gmail.com. Or for WhatsApp purposes, send us a text at the number 346-504-3666. ABS Africa TV. We are bridging culture and connecting generations. Thanks for staying put, ladies and gentlemen. I will go back to my guests. Start with you, Kennedy. You raised the subject of federation. Uh, after over 60 years, I guess about 61 years living with La République du Cameroon, and then getting to 1972 where they conducted this unilateral referendum and get us to become their subjects. We have been fighting for federation. We fought for it for years. We didn't receive any answer. La République did not listen. And now we have been at war for 9 years, sir. And La République du Cameroun still hasn't even thought of coming to the table to talk about federation. You were here last time and you told me how when the word federation featured at your Grand National Dialogue in Yaoundé in 2019, those who dared to talk federation like Agbo Bala, John Frundi, and the rest, they were booed in that hall. Why do you continue to cling to something that your proponents, your friends, I should say, just do not believe in? If they believe in, don't you think they would have spared 30,000 lives to talk it?
I like the way you characterize the relationship between federalists and the regime, that we are friends. Nothing can be further from the truth than that. Because if federation was a convenient proposition, they would not have killed about 30,000 people. If federation was a good proposition for the regime, if it was a convenient proposition, we would not be fighting for it for the 61 years that you rightfully mentioned.
But
If
I don't know what you're
federation was
talking
a
about.
good proposition
Who
for
is
them,
it supposed to be convenient for? For the regime or for Ambazonia?
maybe it's not convenient to the regime, just as the Ambazonian war is not also convenient for them.
No, yes.
Why would you think that the same regime that is fighting against Ambazonian, that fought against federalists, why would you think that they will have different feelings on both ideas? I know very well that the regime is fighting Ambazonians because they are not in agreement with Ambazonians. And it becomes rudimentary for you to think that they agree with federalists and still fought federalists. It defeats common sense to really come up with such a
what
proposition.
keeps you believing that they're going to come talk federation with you?
I don't even believe that they will ever come and talk federation with us. I believe that we have to fight to gain federation. I say it with all intention. We are federalists, not because we think that it's an easy thing, not because we think that it's a better way to go against the regime. We are against the regime and we are for federation because we know that it is the right thing to do. That's why we became federalists. That's why we're fighting for federation.
I don't know how.
When we go back to 1972, as you rightfully say,
I have not seen you fighting.
No, we're fighting. Fighting
How?
does not necessarily mean that you have to carry guns and and use bullets and missiles and all of that. We saw how
I have
Martin
not
Luther
even seen
King.
you federalists hold a single meeting.
I think you are pulling a card there from the regime's playbook, where
What do you mean?
where truth is a problem to
It's a
them.
statement of fact that for 9 years you keep singing federation, and not a single federalist meeting has taken place.
No, we're holding federalist meeting all the times. I had a meeting last week where we meet. Federalist fora.
What were the
we hold
resolutions?
meetings just the same as the Ambazonians have resolutions, but it's still not being materialized. We are facing the same problems with you guys, and that's where I wonder. We should be truthful. We are facing the same regime that does not want us as much as they don't want you, and it's clear. You said it rightfully. 1972 was and would always remain as a day of infamy and desecration in the history of Cameroon. So, what was the desecration? They desecrated federalism. And I don't understand how you all would think that people that desecrated federalism are for federalists, are in bed with the federalists. We are nowhere bedfellows. It's just like I would turn today and say that you, Comrade Chris, you are in bed with the regime. And I know, yes, some of the Ambazonians do say that. Some of them among you guys do say that you are bedfellows with regime. But I don't want to get into that.
We've heard that until we got immune. hearing
That's exactly why I'm telling you that we also have that immunity. When I hear John calls those people my friends, John with whom I moved from Bangui, when Yaoundé, John who knew that if I wanted to be part of that regime, he knows the talent I had. He knows where I was. He knows very well that if I was a bedfellow made with the regime, he should be the one to tell people that no, when you see this Kennedy, right from his teenage age, he was revolutionary. He was against the regime. Because if he had accepted to be with the regime, he will be somewhere in that system. He knows that better.
Let me get John to respond.
For him to call me a regime's friend, I mean.
Let me get John to respond to that. I see some smarts there. John, go on, please. If you can bend your camera slightly, please. Thank you.
Okay. Kennedy, I will not say that you are in bed with the regime. I don't even think I said that. Because to be candid with you, I really don't get petty in my arguments. I focus on the facts. You understand what I'm saying?
I think there's a problem with your mic, John. There's a feedback from your mic.
Say it again.
There's a feedback coming from your mic.
Oh, what do I need to do? Is it better now?
Do you have two gadgets open?
No, I have no other gadget open.
Well, let's just go on. Maybe we'll manage it that way.
Anyway, but can you get me? Am I intelligible?
Yeah, just that there's fidgety sound in the background.
Sound. I don't know where the hissing sound is coming from. I don't have any other system on. Let me check to see if I have some device on somewhere. Oh, I had some other device on, but pretty far. I don't think that's what was affecting. I don't know. It could be Kennedy's this thing. It could be Kennedy's phone. That's
just go on. Kennedy is muted. It's not him.
Yeah, you don't know. Kennedy can be struggling to disturb my bite. So, but what I want to say here is, every other joke aside, I want to say here first. I started by pointing out that Kennedy and I fought side by side in Yaoundé. That is for a fact. But I want to make it clear to the Federalists that they are a distraction. And Kennedy, I always say this. I don't say these things by just making noise or throwing slangs. I say it backed with facts. If you go to my YouTube channel, in 2018, when Laurent Esso and other ministers were going around in the diaspora and saying they wanted to talk to the Southern Cameroonians and try and do whatever nonsense, well, Laurent Esso stopped in Belgium. And what happened in Belgium happened. When he returned to Yaoundé, he wrote a report to Mr. Biya. A copy of that report, I obtained it. And I made loud publicity about that report. I still have that copy. In that report, Laurent Esso was advising the government of Cameroon to ease the pressure on federalists, on talks about federalism. Not because the government of La République du Cameroun is ready to return to the federal system, but because it will give the opportunity for La République du Cameroun to have the people of the Southern Cameroons fighting against themselves. He made clear in that document that the federalist current was growing and it could become a serious distraction to the pro-independence current. And so, therefore, the government of Cameroon stopped arresting people for propagating federalist ideologies. So, Kennedy, I'm coming to you to tell you that I've never said you as a federalist, you are in the same bed with Paul Biya's regime, but that you are useful idiots. Permit the word. I'm not saying that you are an idiot. That is an expression, that's an intellectual expression in this kind of situations, that federalists are useful idiots in the hands of La République du Cameroon because they use the federalists to try and water down the strong pro-independence thought. So, at the core of it, they say, oh, the people, they use the federalists to present to the international community that, you see, the people don't even agree among themselves. That is why they will come up with something, say, okay, let us have a meeting to harmonize views among federalists and pro-independence people. Because you recall, at the start of this liberation movement, people were arrested for propagating so-called federalist ideology. But after the return of Laurent Esso from Belgium and from Dadator, and then the submission of this report, whose authentic copy are received, La République du Cameroon changed its tone on federalists. They allow federalists to make noise because they know that noise benefits them. It helps them to try and water down what others are doing. Let me be clear to you. La République du Cameroon is not ready to go to federalism. Not yesterday, not the day before yesterday, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. The day you hear La République du Cameroon start saying, please, let's go back to federalism, know that that is the first step towards surrender. That's what I want you to know. That's number one. Number two, Kennedy, you said something here at the beginning about the fact that I was saying that I said, okay, let's go back to the federalist trend. We were being methodical. We wanted to put La République du Cameroon before their own destiny, to tell them even the useless forged union that we were in with you was a failure. But you don't even want that, because the original thought you had was annexation. You heard Paul Biya say himself in person in France, pressed by Mo Ibrahim, that the idea was to simply assimilate the people of the Southern Cameroons. And Kennedy, have you ever asked yourself this question? In 1961, and on October 1, two countries, two entities, that's what that constitution says, equal in status, came together to found a new country. La République du Cameroon, that was independent on January 1, known as La République du Cameroon, dissolved and became known as the Federated State of East Cameroon. The Southern Cameroons dissolved and became known as the Federated State of West Cameroon. And the two joined and formed a new country called the Federal Republic of Cameroon. Now, which means in 1961, La République du Cameroon ceased to exist. On October 1, Southern Cameroon ceased to exist. These are two entities that sync to form a new country. Why? Because they were not one before. And then in 1972, like Chris said, some fake referendum is organized and they say, let's go towards a unitary system because federation is expensive. Now it became United Republic of Cameroon. The flag had two stars. Still a demonstration that two entities are found in this structure. Now in 1984, Paul Biya, by presidential decree, renames, that dissolves the Federal Republic of Cameroon, that became the United Republic of Cameroon, and unilaterally reinstates La République du Cameroon. Where did Southern Cameroons go to? That, because when you are talking things here of this of Cameroon, of that of Cameroon, you should be able to understand these historical facts. Paul Biya in 1984 led La République du Cameroon to secede from the Union. So if you are talking about secessionists, separatists, it is La République du Cameroon. The only bad thing is that they seceded and then turned around and annexed the Southern Cameroons. Otherwise, La République du Cameroon that disappeared in January on the 1st of October 1961, when it suddenly comes back and is alive again, the same La République du Cameroon reemerges in 1984. It now has more territory than it had at independence. But that country was a signatory to the Organization of African Union's treaty of the Uti Posidetis Juris, that said boundaries were frozen at independence. So will you tell anybody that the Southern Cameroons is part of the territory of La République du Cameroon? Because the boundaries of La République du Cameroon were frozen at independence on the 1st of January 1960. The only way La République du Cameroon finds itself on Southern Cameroon's territory would be through a treaty of union. Is there one, Kennedy? Can you show it to me? Because when you are talking history, when you are talking facts here, don't talk sentiments. Listen, I am a Pan-Africanist. I believe that African countries should come together. But I don't believe in some entities being absorbed and turned into second-class citizens. We achieve our independence first. La République du Cameroon withdraws to their boundary. We assert our sovereignty. And then, in the spirit of the African unity, we sink boundaries and allow our people to flow freely and effortlessly. That is the true meaning of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism does not mean black on black colonization or the enslavement of an entity. You need to bury this in your head. When you do, you will stop allowing yourselves, the so-called federalists, to become useful idiots and tools in the hands of La République du Cameroon. The earlier you understand this, that you are being used, the better. And I'm glad you affirmed here that the government of Cameroon never accept federalism. So why settle for less than you deserve when you can settle for exactly what you deserve? Because you will end up with less than you settle for. That's a fact.
Let him have the opportunity to respond, John.
Kennedy is muted.
It's on. Go on. Go on. You are on. You are on. You are okay. Go on. No, I think you are muted, Kennedy. You are muted at your end.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay. Thank you very much, John, for that historical perspective that you gave. And you so outlined it brilliantly. That's the history. Those are the facts. But I'm going to shock you a little bit, because what you are saying goes beyond Bia and Ayijo. And I will delve into some hardcore historical facts so we can all understand the root cause of the Southern Cameroon's marginalization. It is not something that started in 1961. It was something that was designed, and it is the result of an international conspiracy against the people of Southern Cameroons. And when I talk about international conspiracy, I would indict the United Kingdom. I would indict Britain and the United Nations. Now, let me give you facts. Let's get this. And I'm going to go with the resolution. Let me read like right here. And I'll give the references that you can all check. If you go and take resolution 782 of December 5th, 1958, in its plenary session, this is what the United Nations said. Because you should understand the role that Britain played, and I'm talking about the United Nations. So if you go, you look at article, the resolution of resolution 1282 of 5th December 1958. This is what it says: recalling that a visiting mission of the Trusteeship Council is now in the said territories in pursuance of Council Resolution 1907, and all blah blah blah. But come here, this is the point. The United Nations notes the declaration of the government of France that the Cameroons under French administration is to achieve independence on 1st January 1960, thus fulfilling the objectives of the trusteeship system. But see where the Anglophone problem comes from. While France was agreeing to give independence to French Cameroon on 1st January, see what Britain said. Number two, note the statement made by the representative of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland that the Cameroons under the United Kingdom administration is expected to achieve in 1960 the objective set forth in Article 76B of the Charter of the United Nations. Note very well, Article 17B. Let us go to Article 76B. of the United Nations, what does this article say? And you would see the manigance of Great Britain. This is what Article 76B says. To promote the political, economic, now, the basic objectives of the trusteeship system in accordance with the purpose of the United Nations laid down in Article 1 of the present charter shall be to further the international peace and security. And now B, that concerns us. To promote the political, economic, social, and educational advancement of the inhabitants of the trust territories and their progressive development towards self-government or independence. Put this very well, self-government or independence, as may be appropriate to the political circumstances of each territory and its people, and freely express wishes of the people concerned, as may be provided by the terms of each trusteeship agreement. So you see, when we go to resolution 1282, you see France clearly saying that they would give independence to the French, but Britain does not use independence to Anglophone Cameroon, but uses
Kennedy,
the
I think
expression
we are
of
beating a dead horse.
no, it's important.
I
It's
think we are
important.
beating a dead horse here.
No, it's not.
I
No.
think the question we want to answer now is how do we? Yes, the British did that. It is over. It's said and done. How do we reverse it? That's the question we want to answer to.
Yeah, we say we want to reverse it. To reverse it, we have to indict Britain. Britain should be on the table of indictment.
Why would
because
a lot of people who Cameroon who perpetuated the injustice to go and be fighting somebody in England?
No, because what they did, they are still supporting it at the United Nations. You think that if these people at the United Nations were serious?
Nations has no evidence there was a union between Ambazonia or Southern Cameroon and the Republic.
This document. No, hold on. No, I didn't finish. No, you guys allow me finish because I listened to you guys. Don't cut me, please. No, this is the issue. Because when you don't, every day we talk about the root cause, and when we go to the United Nations, they don't take us serious because we keep starting this history in 1961 and think that Aijo was smart enough to outplay us. No, Aijo was not smart enough to outplay all those Anglophone intelligentsia. Aijo and Paul Biya connive with the international community. And right up to today, that connivance is still in action against us. So until we understand that the United...
What is
the solution? The solution is that the United Nations should go back, fix what they created, and ask the Republic of Cameroon to stand to its agreement with us. That's the solution. The international community. If you keep limiting it to Biya, Biya does not have the power until he is back. No, until he is backed by the international community. If Biya is not weaponized, if they were not weaponized, they cannot even defeat Ambazonia.
Are you saying to all these people that if tomorrow Paul Biya should rise from the dead and say, you know what, Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, you get your independence, the United Nations will say no?
Do you think that France will allow him say that? Do you think that France will allow Biya say that?
Why can't he say
that's where the problem lies?
No, John, come in there, please.
Kennedy, I like your passion, but you see, that is why I was taking you to the hierarchy of historical facts. Dates in history really matter, and the reason dates in history matter is because they help us see evolution. The British said what they said in 1958, but you know that even in 1961, the United Nations did not necessarily go what the British said. That is why the United Nations in Resolution 1608 held an independence vote for the Southern Cameroons. That's why there was a vote. Now, what happened after the vote is where the issue is. That tells you that at the United Nations, they disagreed with the British. They said, okay, there is no problem. Since the British were listen, see, I'm talking with facts. Since the British were insistent, and this is why the British did what they did. The British wanted the people of the British Cameroons, because it was British Northern Cameroons and British Southern Cameroons, to be merged into Nigeria. And the reason was they thought that it would make it easier for them to govern by merging us with Nigeria. But the people of the Southern Cameroons, don't forget, in 1954, because of the disagreement and torture from the Igbo people, they decided to walk out of the parliament in Unugu, came back and settled in Boya and founded the government of the Southern Cameroons. That's why they were even different from the British Northern Cameroons. But you will note that why the people of British Northern Cameroons voted to join Nigeria. Those of the Southern Cameroon didn't, because they sought self-determination. And that's why you see there is a lot of silence on what happened to the people of the British Northern Cameroons at the United Nations. That is why when the British said that if the people of the British Southern Cameroons were allowed to achieve independence, the territory has no resources. They cannot self-finance and be independent without depending on the taxpayers' money of the British Crown. And so their concern was, we do not have resources, and so therefore, if we become independent, we'll constantly be asking for handouts from the United Kingdom. So they wanted at all costs that we either join Nigeria, or that is how the issue of independence by joining came on. Don't forget, because when I say they disagreed, you shake your head. The representative of the United States at the United Nations at the time, Clement Zablowski, was on mitigating. It was clear that any union between the people of the Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroun, when it got to that, will be coming against the will of the people. And he congratulated the people of the Southern Cameroons after the vote on April 21, 1961, the independence vote, where the United States voted for independence for Southern Cameroons for achieving self-determination, because he said the people wanted to handle their affairs independently and democratically. Don't forget, even the Secretary General of the United Nations at the time, Dakar Maxjob, made clear that bringing the people of the Southern Cameroons, along with those of La République du Cameroun, people completely different and with different thoughts and whatever together, will be like forcing a balloon under the sea and it will explode. And to prove to you, Kennedy, that even the United Nations is aware that there is no treaty of union between La République du Cameroun and the Southern Cameroons, that even the United Nations principally still knows that these are two separate entities. That is why in 2010, when La République du Cameroun was celebrating 50 years of its independence, the gift by the Secretary General of the United Nations to Paul Biya were two maps, two distinct maps. One of La République du Cameroun, as it achieved its territorial boundaries known on the 1st of January 1960. And the other map, the distinct map of the Southern Cameroons. They don't need to go on top of a tree to tell you that this is the message we are communicating. And when George Ewale captured this message on television, when he reported that event, of course, he received a query. Because like we do to Cameroon, that's the truth. They never want anybody to know. Now left to us, we are trapped. The people of the Southern Cameroons have to squeeze the throat of La République du Cameroun until they tell France we can fight no more. Because you are right, Kennedy. La République du Cameroun is fighting a French proxy war. Yesterday, they said we were too poor to self-govern. Today, they say we are too rich to self-govern. Because if we go, La République du Cameroun will have no resources to live on. But initially, they said, if they left us alone, we don't have anything, we'll hang on the French crown, on the British crown. What I want each and every one of us to recognize is, don't sit there and think that it is impossible for the people of the Southern Cameroons to assert their right. The people of East Timor, they are not 2 million. They are not 2 million. They were able to overpower Indonesia, which is almost 300 million today. So what I want you to know is we are aware it is resiliency, determination, and focus will take us where we are taking. The thing that is even holding us back is the distraction from federalists like you. That's holding us back. It's a distraction from those impostors who go to Yaoundé and say that they are members of parliament or they are senators. They know they are representing nobody. It is a distraction from those impostors who stand around and say they are mayors when they know nobody elected them. It is a distraction from those who move around calling themselves so-called elites, those members of the CPDM crime syndicate. That is the distraction. Otherwise, the people of the southern Cameroons, at least 98%, are ready to fight all the way to the end. That is why too many times the Republic of Cameroon has cried victory, but it has never come to pass. Despite this, the current trend that they say there's an international conspiracy that capturing the people of southern Cameroon and keeping, the fight is on. Our people will resist. That's why I agree with Tibor Nagy when he says it is a matter of time. The people of the southern Cameroon will get exactly what they want, which is self-determination, because it is our right. Kennedy, don't forget that the AU Human Rights Court in Banjul, an arm of the current AU, ruled that the people of the southern Cameroons are a people under international law. I know what the people under international law means. It means you deserve the right to self-determination. It's inalienable.
All right.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I listened to you. Yes.
Yes,
I
take a
listened to
minute
you.
to respond, and then let's move on to let's open the phone lines, please.
No, yes, it's going to be a little more than a minute. I listened to him religiously, but I'm going to say in brief. You made a lot of fallacies right there. And one of the major fallacies that, yes, one of them is, you beg the answers in your expressions. So I know exactly what I'm saying when I talk about fallacies. Now, this is the issue that you have to understand. When you say that the British and the French, right up to 1968, when they were holding this referendum and trying to separate the Anglophone region, they thought that Southern Cameroon was poor.
No, say separate.
No,
There was no region. No, please. Use the right terminology. Don't use the right
Okay,
parlance.
what do you say? Go ahead, repeat it.
That's what you're saying. They were not. Was there Anglophone region in 1960?
Okay, Southern Cameroon. Let's go. Okay, now hold on. When you speak, you say Ambazonia. I don't catch you. You know when you say Ambazonia. No, do you know something? No, let me tell you something. No, hold on.
That is the discussion that I don't agree with.
Hold on. When you say Ambazonia, I don't agree with that your term, but I'm intelligent enough to contextualize what you're saying, and I beg you also to use your intelligence and contextualize my Anglophone that I use. Hold on. No. I can stop you every time you use Ambazonia. It's not going to help us. Hold on.
Are you aware that Ambazonia is contained in the court ruling?
Allow me talk. You talk and allow you.
John, hold on. John, hold on.
And rename it Ambazonia.
John, hold on. John, hold on. Let Kennedy learn and let's get his point.
Now, I can guarantee you that when you use Ambazonia, I don't agree with it, but I contextualize it. So now you don't have to agree with me saying Anglophone, but you are smart enough to contextualize and understand that that's my way of calling Southern Cameroons. I don't know how many times I will tell you this, but once more, when I use Anglophone, you don't have to agree with that. You don't have to agree with that, just as I don't agree with Ambazonia. But I'm polite enough to allow you finish. So allow me finish also. Okay.
Go on.
This is what I was saying. France and Britain knew well in 1950 that Southern Cameroon is extremely rich because they had done geological studies and found petroleum in the Bakassi area. Now, what happened is that there was a deal. France and Britain had to broker a deal over the Suez Canal, where Britain wanted a passage and France had some interest there. And the trade-off was Southern Cameroons. That is international politics that happened there. It wasn't because they thought that we were poor in 1958. And now, why did they break Northern Cameroon from Southern Cameroon before doing the plebiscite? They knew very well that if they just did the plebiscite with the Southern Cameroons joined together, France would have had nothing. Because if you join the two votes of this region and organize only one plebiscite, we would have all gone to Nigeria. But because Britain wanted to give something to France, they separated and did two plebiscites. But this is a fact. To counter everything, when you want to say that the United Nations was trying to help us, when you take resolution 1608, it is clear. This is what the United Nations says in resolution 1608 to endorse the result. And the date of this resolution was April 21st, 1961, long before October 1st. It said, the people of the Southern Cameroons have decided to achieve independence by joining the Independent Republic of Cameroon. This is the United Nations siding with Britain. So when you say that the United Nations was in conflict with Britain, they were not agreeing Britain, but they come up with a plebiscite that acknowledges what Britain had wanted and had professed in 1958. So it still comes back to what I'm saying. What is happening to Southern Cameroonians or Ambazonian, as I love you, let me use Ambazonia, what is happening to them? It's an international conspiracy against the people of Southern Cameroon. And that international conspiracy involves the United Nations, involves Britain, until we call them out for what they did. And we thinking that hanging on small boy Biya will change this paradigm. No. If Biya even says independence, France is going to organize a coup d'etat tomorrow and kick him out.
Chris, I think Kennedy, to be very candid, you said something there, and I want to hold you back to it. When did the geological studies, when were they conducted to discover that there was oil in the Southern Cameroons? When was it conducted?
I'll come back to you.
You said in the you said in the 1960s. Because what in the
1950s.
No, there were not those geological studies were not conducted in 1960s because the history. Listen, the history is clear. In the late 1960s, they discovered oil on the territory of the Southern Cameroon.
No. That's why. Wait. Hold on. No, let me hold you there too. Let me hold you there.
Kennedy,
December 1959.
John is responding to your point. Let him land.
No, he is wrong because
let him
in
land,
1959. No, in 1959, the Accord Franco-Camerounais was made, and he made mention of all of those resources that will be transferred to France under France authority in 1959 December.
No, listen. You said in 1959. Do you know that in 1959? Listen, in 1959, France was pursuing its accord cadre with its territories. In 1959, Southern Cameroons had not.
Cameroon was not a French territory. Cameroon was not a French territory. Cameroon was a United Nations trusteeship, and that is why. Let me tell you. From the first of January 1961. Hold on. Hold on. Let me explain this to you that you don't know. No, you don't know this. Cameroon has never been a French colony.
I did not talk. Can I finish?
No, because I want to show you how they can break. You did that to me twice. Now you are satisfied.
Not knowledgeable about something, Kennedy. Kennedy, listen. When you don't have the facts,
oh no, okay, John, you don't know any better. You don't know any better, John. You don't know any better.
I've asked you a simple question.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cameroon was wait. Did Cameroon sign the accord card?
When did Cameroon sign
the accord card?
In December 1959, that Cameroon signed the accord, and that is only when France decided that on January 1st they will give independence to Cameroon. And the reason why
So
it
why
took
did
long.
Cameroon wait? No, excuse me. You have agreed with me that Cameroon signed their accord card in 1959.
But I said
Why did they
that
sign
since.
their accord card?
I said I'm
No, but
not agreeing
excuse
with
me.
you. I
Why
said it first.
listen? Why did Cameroon signed their accord card? Cameroon
Okay.
at that time signing their accord card with France could not be signing on resources found on the territory of the southern Cameroons when they were not part of La République du Cameroon. Do you even understand what you're talking about? You
Okay,
are saying that in 1959.
now you don't even understand. You don't even understand what I'm talking about, John. You are mixing
La
things.
République du Cameroon signed out resources found on the territory of the southern Cameroons when the southern Cameroons did not even have any union or anything to do with La République du Cameroon. Come on, listen to yourself.
Okay, now this is it. You don't understand. No, you don't understand what I said. I said that Britain. Hold on, calm down. I said that Britain.
I'm calm.
Hold on, calm down. Look at me. I said, listen very well. I said that Britain and France made negotiation. I didn't say France and Southern Cameroons. I said Britain and France. Britain knew what they have in Southern Cameroons. France knew what they wanted from Britain. So now,
I talked about. Listen, please. I talked about accord card. Do you know what I talked about accord card? When I talk about accord card, we say Cameroon was not a French territory, and I said then Cameroon was not a French territory. Why did he sign accord card? And look, when they are counting the French territories in Africa, they say 14. Cameroon is one of them.
No, never. Under international law. Under international law, John, not today and from today, under international law, Cameroon was being ruled under Article 76, Regime International de Tutelle. I have the documents here. So Cameroon was not a colonial territory.
A trust territory.
Yeah, Cameroon was a trust territory, not a French territory. That is why. Hold on, let me tell you. Hold on, John. John, hold on, let me tell you. John, hold on, let me tell you. That is why
I don't know why
every now and then France had to provide. Okay, hold on. Okay, that is why.
Question that asks here is
France. No, hold on.
Listen. Why were they calling Southern Cameroons British Southern Cameroons? They were
the administrative authority. And now, do you know?
So,
okay, hold on.
This is exactly what I'm explaining to you.
No. In international law, it has a meaning. That is why when you go in French documents, they will say le territoire français et le Cameroun oriental. When they are referring to la France d'outre-mer, Cameroon never was AOF. France d'outre-mer, never. They always say that. They will count all the countries and they'll say le Cameroun. AOF le Cameroon. Under international law.
Listen. You and I know clearly that under international law, these were trust territories.
Okay, then why are you arguing? Why are you arguing?
But
all right.
Why are you arguing?
All right.
Why arguing?
Why can you say that we are free territory?
You are telling that in 1959, La République du Cameroun, by signing the accord card with France, or we're getting into any agreement, we agree on the resources found on the territory of the Southern Cameroon.
No, everybody that listens to me, that's not what I said. Except you, John. Even everybody listening to me know that that's not what I said. Except you. Even Mr. Cristiano knows that that's not what I said.
Can you repeat what you said? No, wait, what did you say?
Okay, I said this, that Britain and France had an agreement over Southern Cameroons. France was trading off its interest.
In 1959.
No, not in 1959. France before 1959, because when you go to the resolution 1282 of 1958, while France is giving independence to French Cameroon, Britain is saying that it's not saying that they are giving independence to Southern Cameroon. Now, but no, I'm not. Hold on, you are confused. So the issue, no, you see, you are begging the answer right now, and that's a fallacy. Now,
I'm not begging the answer. You
are begging the answer.
Hold on, Kennedy. John, try to respond.
Please, can I clarify you?
Yes, go on.
About this. You need to know the British never stopped making effort to get all of British Cameroons to be part of Nigeria. The British put in every effort to get both the Southern Cameroons and the British Northern Cameroons to be part of Nigeria. That's why when the plebiscite was organized, the British had hoped that given the proximity of language, some aspect of proximity of culture, the people of the two, that's of the British Northern Cameroons and the British Southern Cameroons, would vote to join Nigeria. But when the British Southern Cameroons, listen, when the British Southern Cameroons voted to achieve independence by joining La République du Cameroun, that is when the British, that's after 1960, after February 1960, that is when the British now went into an agreement with France. That's when the British went into an agreement with
Britain
France.
promoted
Listen,
politicians that were against going to Nigeria.
All right.
Britain promoted.
Gentlemen.
Britain, just 1 minute. 1 minute, let me finish. 1 minute, let me clarify this.
Kennedy,
Yes,
let's
let me
hold on
clarify
there.
I wouldn't
We're
waste
going
my
to
time
open the
with
phone
you.
lines. We're
No.
going to
Like
open the
it,
phone
go and do
lines
further
when we
research.
come
You
back.
get it
Please
by
stay
yourself.
put there.
Go and do further research.
Are you planning a convention for your cultural or development association this summer? Let the world see it live. ABS Africa TV will bring your story straight from the diaspora to your villages and towns, so your people back home can experience every dance, every speech, and every proud moment as it happens. With professional coverage, global broadcast reach, and real-time streaming, ABS TV turns your event into a celebration that transcends borders. Don't let your hard work go unseen. Put your convention on the map. For booking and inquiries, please email us at absafricatv@gmail.com. Again, absafricatv@gmail.com. Or for WhatsApp purposes, send us a text at the number 346 504 3666. ABS Africa TV. We are bridging culture and connecting generations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been a very, very heated debate. Unfortunately, the time is not enough for us to continue with just the debate. We would like to open the phone lines for all of you watching and listening to the sound of John Ba Akuro and Kennedy Ijacha to call in and let us know what you are thinking on your mind. I see lots of comments out there in the social media, and they are not very friendly to Kennedy. So please go ahead and call. Before you call, make sure you turn down the volume of your TV set. Make sure you turn down the volume of your TV set before you call. You can go ahead. Hope the technicians can get the number on the screen for you to call. Again, make sure that you turn down the volume of your set before you call. All right, the phone number is there on the screen. Go ahead and call. I'd like to know what you think. I think there are some messages here already. This is from Professor Gabila, writing from South Africa. A trust territory is not a colony. Kennedy is correct, but John is not wrong. Okay, let's get to this caller now. We'll read that after. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Meme County.
Calling from Meme County. Wonderful. What is on your mind, sir?
Actually, I'm very impressed with the show today. I can see our high comrade, Mr. Jomba Akuru. I usually remember the day that the time that when I was small, I usually heard in CRO TV news in the morning that they say this is a news read by Jomba Akuru. First, the main point. So when I heard the voice,
then when you read the news on CRO TV?
So that voice was always making me to know that we have people also that are in the La Republic that also they are also big people too that we can rely on. So that very voice, I was very happy. Each time in Cameroon calling, when I heard that voice, I'm very, very happy. Like he always come up like this is the news read by Jomba Akuru. So I was very happy. So by the point all the way, I heard what that other guy is saying. It's just that when you see a confused man, you know that he's a confused man. Yes, because what that guy is saying is already a confused man. Even a primary school child, if being taught of what the history of Southern Cameroon is, he cannot go up to that level. He cannot go up to that level of foolishness of what that guy is doing.
What do you call What do you call foolishness here? What do you call foolishness here?
Because I'm calling it foolishness because the guy is not doing what he's supposed to do, or he's not coming out like somebody who is an intellectual. He's not coming out like somebody who has gone to school, because the way of his understanding is very poor. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the call. All right.
If in the beginning.
Hello. 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 Okay, I lost that caller there. The phone line is there on your screen. Go ahead and call. Hello.
Yes, AK Comrade Chris. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. This must be the Honorable Dr. Ngwambe.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is, sir. And greetings to your fellow panelists that are on, Comrade Jaka and Comrade John Baku. You know, I do have to agree with the previous caller who said that our brother Kennedy is confused, and confused on history a lot. For example, when he brought in this, he tried to mix in this issue of France making a deal with Britain over Cameroon because of the Suez Canal, and I'm wondering where he even got that from.
That was my first time hearing that. Maybe we'll give him opportunity to explain. I've never heard that.
Because, Comrade Chris, the funny thing is,
I don't know, what did Cameroon have to do with the Suez Canal? All right,
I was trying to figure it out too, because from what I remember from history, when Egypt in those days, I can't remember if it was Anwar Sadat or if it was Abdel Nasser. I can't remember which of the two presidents at that time. But when Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal, France, Israel, and the United Kingdom attacked Egypt. You hear that, right? France, Israel, and the United Kingdom joined together to attack Egypt because of Egypt nationalizing the Suez Canal. And I think it ended up being like the U.S. and maybe Russia working together to fix that situation, and Egypt maintained its control over the Suez Canal. So that's his first point of confusion. The second point that I want him to really understand is that I don't know if he can even go into history and cite where in history a people who have gained their independence or who had issues with the way Britain did their funny business in Africa, or any other colonial power did their funny business in Africa, whether after they were granted their independence, they were able to go back to the United Nations and sue the United Nations to impose on people who have veto power at the United Nations to fix that independence situation. That has never happened. We are not the first set of people who this has happened to, where the British did this nonsense. The British did this nonsense to our brothers in South Sudan. Point number one, South Sudan and North Sudan were being administered separately. And initially, Britain wanted South Sudan to at some point become an independent nation. But for whatever reason, probably the same mischief that they had towards us about the expenses and all that other rubbish, they did not help our South Sudanese brothers properly negotiate their unification with North Sudan, where they were supposed to have a federation. And it ended up being a unitary state with North Sudan. And that's what led to the war between the North Sudanese and the South Sudanese, because of Britain's failure to properly help South Sudan negotiate their federation. Next example, you see the stupidity of Britain in what they did between what we now know today as Pakistan and what we now know today as Bangladesh. Bangladesh back then was known as East Pakistan. Can you believe, Comrade Chris, that if you know where Pakistan is and you know where Bangladesh is and you know India sits right between them, can you believe that the United Kingdom really wanted Bangladesh and Pakistan to operate as a united country, even though they don't have any connection with each other by land? And guess what happened? Guess what happened? They had their prime minister election. The Bangladeshi side won. Pakistan refused to seat the Bangladeshi prime minister, and they ended up having to go to war. And Bangladesh, fortunately, was supported by India, and they got their independence. So the point that I want my brother Kennedy to understand is that if you truly want to be independent, or even if you want your federation, you are going to have to fight for it. It's been proven. Even the South Sudanese, John Garang was a federalist. He wanted North Sudan. He was fighting North Sudan because he wanted to renegotiate the federation and put a proper federation between North Sudan and South Sudan. That's why he went to war. So I don't know why our brother Kennedy does not realize that you must go to war if you want to fight, if you want to have what you have to. Even the Dr.
No, Kennedy believed the United Nations and the British will give them back federal Cameroon.
And even with Dr. Martin Luther King died, and he did not even get to see and he was engaged in actually active protest. He wasn't doing anything peacefully or anything like that. These are people fight for their rights. Mahatma Gandhi is another person.
Right. All right.
That guy died. People die for independence and people die for their rights. So I don't know what Kennedy and the Federalist Brothers are thinking if they think that they're not going to have to fight for what they want.
All right. All right. Thank you. So many callers calling. Let's get to some other callers here. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Comrade Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. This must be the Honorable Sama himself.
Yes, I'm the one.
All right. 1 minute, sir.
Okay. I want to say hi to Mr. Akoro and to say congratulations to him and to Brother Kennedy. He made a statement that I do not agree with. The British couldn't trade the Southern Cameroons to the French.
Who are you agreeing with, Akuro or Kennedy?
I am agreeing with Akoro, but disagreeing with Kennedy.
Okay.
The British couldn't trade the Southern Cameroons over the Suez Canal for the problem or the situation of the Suez Canal between the British and the French was settled before the dawn of the 19th century. I know that De Lesseps constructed the Suez Canal, but when the Germans came into colonial administration in Africa, the French and the British agreed that England will colonize Egypt, while France colonized Morocco and Tunisia. So the problem of the Suez Canal was settled then. So the British couldn't trade the Southern Cameroons over a concession with the Suez Canal. That is not true. Mr. Kennedy should go and do his findings again before spreading such information, which is false.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Yes. Can you turn down the volume of your TV and focus on your phone, please?
Thank you. Okay.
Where are you calling from?
Yes. I'm calling from Johannesburg, South Africa.
All right, wonderful. What is on your mind, sir?
Yes, good. I just have one thing. You see, I want to tell Kennedy that he needs to go back to study his history and then study international instruments to be able to understand our historical context. To put it in context and facts. Congratulations to John Bankuru for that wonderful lecture, historical and international instruments that govern our history. I just want to ask one thing to Kennedy. and to the Federalists. What happened to the first federation? That they think that, if they get another federation, federal state, it will work. So I just want him to give me that clarity. What makes him think that the first one we got, the fake one we got, we could not even manage it. And then he thinks that this one this time around will work. Let him just take us through that and let Amazonians understand.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris, for that.
I mean,
good program. It was
thank you for
Thank
that
you.
question.
All right, Kennedy, please take 50 seconds because we got so many calls coming in. Take 50 seconds, respond to this caller, and we'll move on.
Yes, I mean, your question is, what do I think would happen if we get a federation as compared to before? It's the same as I would ask you the question, why is it that with all the killings and with everything that has happened, why is Cameroon, the Biya regime, not giving independence to the Ambazonians? Do we think that I can ask you again, do we think that all these people that are dying in their drone numbers that Cameroon is killing, would they come back up? So there are some questions that we don't need to ask.
You
and
don't
again,
answer a question by asking why.
Yes, so this is my answer. Yes, this is my answer. I mean, you will not dictate how I answer it. And now to the first part of your question in 20 seconds. When it comes to the Suez Canal, it was nationalized in 1956. But the intricacies of the politics that were involved with the plebiscite territories of Cameroon were well in play before 1956 when Gamal finally nationalized. So you should know now that France and Britain had to fight hand in hand, but Gamal overpowered them in 1956. So the independence of Cameroon and all that did not start in 1956. They were pre-agreements. And because they are gentle people, even though the nationalization of the Suez Canal happened in 1956, Britain still had to hold on to its prior agreement to France. I hope it clarifies that.
Is it?
No, please, I desire 30 seconds.
Your microphone has lots of feedback, John.
I don't know. Okay,
And we cannot even hear you because of the feedback on the microphone. Maybe you log out and log back right in. All right. The phone lines are still open, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and call. Let me see who is calling next here. Hello.
You know? Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Okay, and what is on your mind?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to Mr. John Akoro for the transparency and the truth that he's given out to his people.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I really want to call the attention of all sons and daughters of Southern Cameroon that they are in La Republic and they stand up for La Republic. They don't want to fight for their people and their people are dying. It is our prayer that God will judge those that want their people to die. So Mr. Akuro happens to be someone who has worked with the regime for so many years. And he knew the truth and he decided to stand with his people. So it is our call, it is our cry that all sons and daughters of Southern Cameroon should join their people to save their people from slavery. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. All right.
So, Chris, we are going for the next call. Can you hear me now? Can I claim my 30 seconds?
To go. John, go on. I see you trying to say something.
Yes, so I'm claiming my time to make just this quick clarifications to Kennedy before we go. Number one, if he is researching the SNH website, I'm taking SNH because it's La République du Cameroon that I guess he and the people of La République du Cameroon can trust, says oil prospection began in Cameroon in 1947. It began prospection. But the first commercial discoveries were made in the Rio del Rey Basin in 1972.
Correct.
And you will
So you
recall
finally
that it
believe
is in
them.
1972. No,
You
listen, I am
believe.
giving you what is even on the SNH website. The first commercial discovery in 1972. And when they were discovered in 1972, France did not waste any time asking for the immediate termination of the federal system because they needed unfettered access to that oil. So when you misinform, take time to
When was
research.
it discovered?
And
You
then
said it was
listen,
discovered
let me
where?
finish.
No, give the year. When was it discovered?
1972. 72.
So it is in 1972 that they decided to have a referendum. Don't you see how you skew your idea?
I'm
You
not
said that
seeing your idea.
immediately they discovered oil, they decided to terminate. But
I'm not, no,
the
listen,
termination of the
listen,
federation is a process
listen.
that started before. You guys,
No,
that's the
listen,
problem.
listen. There was time the French precipitated this whole thing. Go back to history. There was time they had put in a kind of schedule that would follow. The discovery of oil.
No, the
They did not
referendum
want
was called before 1972. The referendum was called before 1972.
But it took place
Yeah.
but it happened in 1972.
The
So no,
referendum. No,
John is
listen,
saying that.
listen.
No, John
I'm
is
not
saying
arguing
that
with you, Kennedy.
immediately they discovered
Listen,
petrol in
listen. When
1972.
they tell
France
you that,
decided
no,
that they
listen.
should terminate
When
the
they tell
federation.
you that, Kennedy, when they tell you that the commercial discovery was 1972, this is because it was in the. I told you here before going back to this website. I told you that it was in the late 60s that they discovered, and it became official in 1972. The referendum took place in 1972. This thing was discovered in the late 60s. That's what I said. You said
When
it
did
was
it start? When did the
1958.
exploration start? When did the exploration start?
Sir, did you hear me very well? You and I are not
Repeat
talking.
it.
We are talking
No,
discoveries.
when did it start? Repeat it.
Kennedy, people talk on discoveries. When was the oil discovered? Because you said
When did the
that was
exploration
discovered in
start? This guy is
1958.
now believing francophones. This guy is now believing France.
I'm
Shame
not
on
believing
you. Shame
francophones.
on you if you believe
I'm not
France.
believing
Shame on
francophones.
you.
I'm giving you
Let's
the
be
source of
civil.
Shame
that.
on you if you believe France.
Because you
Shame
can believe
on
that
you
one.
if you believe
But I would,
France.
Kennedy,
No, shame on
Kennedy,
you if you believe
I
France,
am giving
John.
you the source of La République du Cameroon, which we even
And you believe
is
them.
the most
And you
obvious
believe
view.
them over me.
Of
You
course,
believe them
because it's
over
the
me.
most
But
ridiculous
Kennedy,
source.
you
I'm not
believe the
believing them
French
over
more
you. I'm
than
believing
everybody
facts.
because you are the
No,
one
he
who
believes
handling
the
them.
French more than me.
You talked
I
about,
said
no,
that.
listen,
I said
you
that
talked
France
about Suez
already
Canal.
knew.
Suez
France
Canal,
already knew that
Suez Canal
we
that was
Kennedy,
Anglophones.
in 1956.
France already knew that we have petrol in the 50s.
Kennedy, please
For your
hold on. Let
convenience.
John make the point and land. You can respond in 50
I hope you
seconds
also
because-
call him to order when he disrupts me.
Then you wait. We let him
Kennedy,
finish and then you
no
call him
Yeah,
to
go
problem.
ahead.
order.
I am making this point clear to you. Why do I take you to the Cameroon source? Because that's even often the worst source to refer to. But even they are telling you that was discovered that the first discoveries were in 1972. But I told you that the discoveries were in the late 60s. You were making us to believe here that the discoveries were in 1958. Before these things
In the
happened.
50s. No,
You just-
go back and watch the
you said in
tape.
the
I told you that in the 50s they already knew. Go and watch the tape.
It was not known. That's why I'm telling you that the first
This
discovery.
guy's talking about.
That's number one. Then number two, you should be clear about discoveries. Number two, you were just debunked on the Suez Canal. Suez Canal was settled in 1956, but you managed to drag it to 1959 or 1960, whatever, to merge it with what is happening.
What?
Listen,
You have a comprehension problem.
Kennedy,
Okay. No, when you finish, I'll talk. When you finish, I'll talk. Go ahead.
Facts
Go ahead.
are facts. They are stubborn. Scientific facts are facts and they are stubborn. There is nothing you and I can do about them. And let me be very clear here. The people of the Southern Cameroons are not dunces. They have read their history. They have researched. They have checked all forms, all kinds of sources. And I've just followed Dr. Gabila says, no, a trust territory is not a colony. None of us was even saying that a trust territory is a colony. But that trust territory was entrusted to France. And France has ruled it as part of its pré carré until today. Dr. Gabila cannot discount that. France is, La République du Cameroon is part of the French pré carré. Can they change government in Cameroon without France? You yourself said here a while ago that if Paul Biya were to say, I'm giving Southern Cameroon's independence, France will kill them, not the United Nations.
I hope I'll have
Not
the
the
same
United
number of time like you. I hope.
Independence is not given.
Hello.
It is seized, and we will seize our independence. Whether you,
Hello.
like France, like it or not.
Hello.
Alan.
Hello. You guys, hold on there. Let's
Hello,
take this
please.
caller here. Hello.
Yeah, hello, please. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you turn down? There seems to be some noise in your background there. Turn down the volume of your set. Focus on the phone, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Go on, please. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Meme County.
Okay. What is your contribution, sir?
Yeah, I want to appreciate what you people are doing today, particularly the panelists.
Okay.
Yeah, please. I want to appreciate Comrade John Akuru for his mastery of the history of Southern Cameroons. Then for Comrade Kennedy, it's a coincidence that this presentation is coming up at this time, when within a very short while, the children of, let me say, students of Southern Cameroons, advanced level and ordinary level, they will be writing the GC, particularly in the subject history. So there is a lot of distortion of facts, and I regret that even some Form 5 students can articulate the history of Southern Cameroons better than Comrade Kennedy. So I would pray that in the future, that if it seems like Comrade Kennedy is just an unnecessary distraction, or you are giving him and the Federalists a kind of relevance that they don't deserve, because they bring a lot of distortion and a lot of confusion to whatever thing you people are struggling for.
Okay. Okay. Is that all?
Yes, so please, for the sake of the struggle, my suggestion is that let's invite those who actually matter, because if you look into the history of this struggle from 2016 up to date,
So
we are on the ground.
Are you saying Are you saying Kennedy?
I said 2016.
Are you saying Kennedy doesn't matter?
Yes, 2016 up to this time, we have not seen, we are on the ground.
Yeah.
We have not seen the role played by Federalists, either to protest, to mobilize the local population, or to bring any effective change to the situation on the ground.
All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you too, sir. You are welcome.
All right. Let me read this message before we call it a night. This is coming from somebody on ground zero. Kennedy sounds so loud, but saying nothing. Let him say in simple terms the strategies or measures they have put in place to bring La République to order. Does La République even feel that Kennedy and co even exist? Kennedy does not have wings, yet he is chasing an eagle flying so high in the sky. He is just making the show boring, wasting people's time. My set is too hot because of Kennedy. Okay. Comrade Akuro and Kennedy, I will give you people place a minute each to summarize whatever thoughts you still have, and let's call it a night, please. Kennedy, I'll start from you, sir.
Yes, I mean, when I I'm proud and happy that I can come on a forum like this that's hostile to freedom of. I mean, not this forum, but it's a forum with people who are hostile watching, who believe that there should be fire and Armageddon on anybody that does not think like them. And I don't see how different they are from Paul Biya. It's a shame that that's exactly the mentality that we are fighting against. You know, and if I'm coming on this forum, I know very well where I'm coming. I know that these people don't agree with me, but I am courageous enough to come put forth my point respectfully. And I hope that those very people that are fighting what Biya has been doing to them, they'll learn a lesson that dissent and divergent point of view is part of progress. It's a shame again on all of you guys who are always negative. Now, just before I leave and I clarify, it's true. I'm happy that John Bakoro brought this. Petroleum exploration began in Cameroon in 1947. Before any country commits its resources in petroleum exploration, they must already have evidence that there is a huge potential to get the petroleum. So it wasn't for anything that France was committing its resources to explore petroleum in Cameroon in 1947, and Mr. Bajo and Koro said it rightfully. And he was saying it in response to what I said, that in the 1950s, it was already known that Cameroon, that southern Cameroons, this southern part of Cameroon, had petrol. It wasn't poor. If you have petrol, you are not poor. So the United, when they were doing the plebiscite in the 59, it wasn't a question of are these people poor, because wherever there's petrol, there are riches. So I want to tell Ambazonian, I am in agreement with you on 95% of the things. I say it all the time. I would choose Ambazonia over CPDM at any time, any moment. I would choose Ambazonia over CPDM. I say it and I say it proudly. It's not because of your hostility. It's not because you have some of the characteristics of Paul Biya that I will not be where you are. But I just know that we are all victims of Paul Biya. But the day you turn away from that hostile, brutal way of thinking like Paul Biya, that when people don't think like you, crush them, send the army, because I know that you guys are coming out with your military words, with your harsh words. But again, I love you guys. And I think we can have a better Cameroon from what Paul Biya has constructed.
All right. I now see why you choose to remain in Yaoundé with La Republic, because we are more hostile than Paul Biya.
Oh, very hostile and brutal.
John, please.
Well, thank you very much. Kennedy, to be candid, it was a pleasure debating you. Don't forget, we come a long way back. We were together in JHS Bengui, and you can hear we all belong to the same club in JHS Bengui, the Society of Journalism. We've always had this kind of heated arguments with Kennedy, and I really want to appreciate his courage to continue to, stand for what he believes in. But what I want to tell Kennedy and all the Federalists, I want you to understand very clearly that, and again, I say this term is not meant to insult. It is actually, an expression that is used, that Federalists are simply useful idiots in the hands of Mr. Paul Biya. Because as a matter of fact, and I'm saying it and I repeat, this openness that the Biya regime has given to allow people can talk about federalism morning, afternoon, evening, and nothing will happen to them, is because they told themselves that allowing some people to pose as federalists and allowing them to continue, being very loud will water down the energy of those who are standing for absolute independence and for total justice for the people of the Southern Cameroons. My submission to the Federalists will be that the one thing you forget is that even upon achieving our goal, which is absolute independence for the people of the Southern Cameroons, we are going to be a federated state. We're going to be a federated state because we believe generally in a system of governance where the people at local levels are allowed to determine their own development priorities because they know at the core what, if done, will speed up their development. Not some crony seated somewhere and deciding haphazardly what needs to be done where and how. And I want to make it clear to the federalists, there was no umbilical cord between us and La République du Cameroon. It did not exist. The independence vote of the 21st of April 1961 brought that clarity. The United Nations needed us to be independent because you said independence by joining. So we achieve independence. We get into a union treaty with the already independent La République du Cameroon, and then we form a new country. You know, there was a semblance of that without a union treaty. It's because of the absence of that union treaty that La République du Cameroon thought they could walk into our territory. And I want federalists to know the only reason La République du Cameroon cannot come to a negotiated settlement is because they know that according to public international law, they have no claim to the territory of the southern Cameroons. They don't have. And so they will have no argument. So brothers and sisters who to call yourself federalists, join us. You will enjoy federalism within an independent southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia. Good night, my friend Kennedy.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. It has been a very heated debate, and I think the viewers out there, they enjoyed it, as I can read from the comments. This is not a subject we can exhaust here. I am hoping that when finally Ambazonia is a free and independent country, the debate will be over. Until then, thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before I go, I'd just like to remind all of you out there who are hoping to be restored under the TPS that we are holding a very important meeting tonight. In fact, less than an hour from now. Less than an hour from now. If you need a link into that meeting, a Zoom meeting link, you have the information on your screen. Send us a message on WhatsApp with the number you find on your screen, or email us on the email address there. And we will get the link for the meeting sent to you. This is very, very important. We will not be holding any other meeting as far as TPS is concerned after today. And if you are out there, you know anyone who applied for asylum and did not get, or anyone who applied and is still waiting, there is this information, this meeting is for them. So please send them the information to log in tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Texas Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific Time. That is if you are in California, in Arizona, Las Vegas, you know where Pacific, you know what Pacific time is. So that meeting will be taking place in less than an hour. It is going to last only for an hour, and it is starting in less than an hour. And use the information on your screen to get the Zoom link. I won't go without talking about the lockdown that is coming up, ladies and gentlemen, on ground zero. The Consultative Commission, Ambazonia Consultative Commission, has endorsed a lockdown. That means every group has endorsed a lockdown coming up for May the 19th through the 20th. May the 19th through the 20th for all of Ambazonia. It is expected that everybody will be locked down. We know that La République du Cameroon will probably pre-conduct these 20th May celebrations, put it on video, go and air on their TV channels. But the world will know that 20th May was locked down in Ambazonia. That is why it remains critical that everybody from all the 13 counties of Ambazonia stay home. Stay home on May 19th to the 20th. We're going to be talking about that more about that in the days ahead. And I just want to make an appeal to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you appreciate what ABS does, the kind of programming that we bring to you, especially concerning the Ambazonian independence struggle, we urge you to consider supporting ABS. You can make a donation to ABS by going to the website amberdeals.com, making a subscription, a monthly subscription, so that at the end of the month, we can pay the bills here. Without paying the bills, we can't come to you. Or if you go to the website, absafricatv.com, and click on the top right hand, the donation button, you can make a donation by PayPal. But if you want to make a Cash App donation, which I know everybody has, you can use this number, the same number you call for calls. You can use this same number to make a donation to ABS by way of Cash App. Unfortunately, we cannot put the Zelle number on the screen, but next time we will do that. But again, you can go on the website, click on the donation button at absafricatv.com and make a payment by way of PayPal, or you can do Cash App with the number on your screen. It is very important because we can only come to you and come to ground zero with the ability to pay the satellite providers and pay for all that we put in place to make this possible. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, for those of you coming into the TPS meeting, you will need to use this information on your screen. The phone number that you see there to get a link, or send us an email at the email you have on your screen to get a link into that meeting. The meeting is not open for everybody. It is open for those on asylum. Those who have applied for asylum, either receive or not receive, and those under TPS. Again, the meeting starts in less than an hour, so you have to send that message now to get the link into the meeting. It's been a long night, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go, once more, I'd like to remind, if your cultural group, your development and your development association or cultural association is organizing a convention this summer, ABS can cover it live and beam it right to your home village, to your hometown, to your city, for your people, your parents, your family to see that you are replicating the culture, the tradition here in the diaspora. Whether you are in Europe or the USA, anywhere in the world, ABS is able to cover your convention live across the globe. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to coming back here on Friday. God bless you all. Are you planning a convention for your cultural or development association this summer? Let the world see it live. ABS Africa TV will bring your story straight from the diaspora to your villages and towns, so your people back home can experience every dance, every speech, and every proud moment as it happens. With professional coverage, global broadcast reach, and real-time streaming, ABS TV turns your event into a celebration that transcends borders. Don't let your hard work go unseen. Put your convention on the map. For booking and inquiries, please email us at absafricatv@gmail.com. Again, absafricatv@gmail.com. Or for WhatsApp purposes, send us a text at the number 346-504-3666. ABS Africa TV. We are bridging culture and connecting generations.
Smart. Muna king fanje. Usari maribo. Wose se ku Joseph Woraboy. 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 That concept Grandago. Mukuba. Mate. Amechi. Away. Peter Eno. Ancien driver. Wongweno. Murukwa. Akwatikaba. Eyong Atem. Wongweno. Akwatikaba. Arremoni. Wongweno. Wongweno. Akwatikaba. Etigenen Supadi. Wongweno. Murukwa. Send it, be some floppies. munyobo tenani ngame duopa munyobo tenere ah seseku agwai wongbono tenani ngame oh tenere tenani ngame akam munyoe tenani ngame
Are you planning a convention for your cultural or development association this summer? Let the world see it live. ABS Africa TV will bring your story straight from the diaspora to your villages and towns, so your people back home can experience every dance, every speech, and every proud moment as it happens. With professional coverage, global broadcast reach, and real-time streaming, ABS TV turns your event into a celebration that transcends borders. Don't let your hard work go unseen. Put your convention on the map. For booking and inquiries, please email us at absafricatv@gmail.com. Again, absafricatv@gmail.com. Or for WhatsApp purposes, send us a text at the number 346-504-3666. ABS Africa TV. We are bridging culture and connecting generations.